Welcome back to the Kosi Arsenal channel. My name is Kosi. Welcome back to a brand new video. Arsenal are getting a new number 9. This summer, Arsenal want to add a super striker to the team because we believe that goals are a problem and goals can be solved by signing a new number 9. So Viktor Gyokerez is the name that is leading the race to become Arsenal's next number 9, and Mikel Arteta and Andre Bata are working very hard to get that deal done. But there are a few people out there that believe that Viktor Gyokerez is going to limit Arsenal in terms of the way we play, the way Erling Haaland limited Manchester City. Of course, players like Viktor Gyokerez are there to be fed. If you can't feed him, if you can't give him the ball, then you can't really get much out of him. But is he going to be a limitation to the Arsenal team, or is he going to be an improvement to the team? Well, it's both way, and in this video, we're going to be understanding how Arsenal could line up with a player like Viktor Gyokerez, why he could be a blessing on one hand and a curse on the other hand as well. But of course, don't panic. He's a good player. He scored 95 goals in 100 games. And he's one of those players out there that know how to take a very good penalty. He takes good chances. And if you give him 3 chances, he's going to bury one. I think that conversion rate is not anywhere near Arsenal. Our best finisher is Leandro Trossard, and at times he's good, at times he isn't that good. But if you get a player like Viktor Gyokerez, that means that you brought in a player who's got a much better conversion rate at the club. So how do Arsenal line up with Viktor Gyokerez? Well, let's first look at how Arsenal have been lining up without Viktor Gyokerez, but using a number 9. This is how Arsenal have been setting up this season with Kai Havertz as the number 9. Julian Timber, Saliba, Gabriel and Lewis Kelly at back. In midfield, you have Declan Rice, Partey and Odegaard. And of course, Havertz leading the line, and alongside him is Gabriel Martinelli and Bukayo Saka. And the easiest way for Arsenal to set up with Viktor Gyokerez is simply switching these 2 players. Obviously, Arsenal are looking to complete the first 2 days of the summer. So Partey would leave and Martin Zubimendi would come in. I can't believe that I just named 2 players, Gyokerez. But you have Havertz leaving the starting 11 and Gyokerez being introduced. And of course, you have Partey leaving the starting 11 and you have Martin Zubimendi being introduced. So we could change this. Let's just change this to Martin Zubimendi. Let's just do Zubi. So this is the first way Arsenal could line up with Viktor Gyokerez. Don't change anything. Don't change a lot. Simply get Viktor Gyokerez to replace Kai Havertz as a better center forward. And this could work very, very well. So if you think about this Arsenal team and you think about how we've been setting up, Kai Havertz has been just playing as our number 9, right? But Kai Havertz is not a number 9, and you've had a couple of chances that he has actually missed. You've had a couple of things that we wanted him to do and he actually couldn't. His area of specialty is not this area here, and that is where your number 9 has got to operate. He's got to understand how you move up and down the penalty area, but he's got to understand how you actually work with this area here. And Kai Havertz, I'm going to give him a lot of credit. Ever since coming into Arsenal, we have played with a proper center forward. I think Gabriel Jesus would have been our number 9, but he gets injured a lot, and of course, he isn't a proper number 9. You're gonna find Gabriel Jesus in these areas of the pitch, diverting himself to the left, diverting himself to the right. But with Kai Havertz, what Arsenal have had is a player that is willing to be central, remain central, a player that has been giving us that aerial presence. Whenever David Raya decides to kick the ball long, it has been finding someone in these channels, and that player has been Kai Havertz. So if Arsenal just want to continue with what we've been doing, we just have to stay with we just have to keep the same setup, but get Viktor Gyokerez into the team and Kai Havertz out of the team. And there are few benefits to doing this. First and foremost, in terms of pressing, I think Gyokerez has got the energy and he can press as a center forward. Now, of course, Kai Havertz is a presser. Presses very well. His press is very effective. If you combine his pressing, and we've seen this a couple of times, where you have Odegaard leading the press with Kai Havertz, and it's been very, very effective every single time. So maybe Arsenal will be losing that in due course. You're losing one of the best pressers from the team, and you're introducing Viktor Gyokerez. But Gyokerez might not be as good as Kai Havertz in terms of pressing, but he's got his advantages in terms of replacing him. Number one, he would give Martin Odegaard a runner. So the thing with Kai Havertz is you're not going to see him make those runs that an Erling Haaland will make, that a Robert Lewandowski can make, that a player like Joao Pedro is going to make, players like that, right? So Viktor Gyokerez is going to increase the creativity of every player in this team. Odegaard is going to have a runner. So whenever Odegaard is on the ball, he's going to have one player that is already through on goal. So he's always going to have that player that is begging for the ball. And as well, if you're Gabriel Martinelli, you're going to have a player in Viktor Gyokerez ahead of you. If you're Saka, you're going to have a player in Viktor Gyokerez that is actually ahead of you. That means we are going to have a player that is just going to demand more in terms of creativity from this team. And what is one of our biggest problems this season? It has been creativity. And the other thing that Arsenal will get, especially from Bukayo Saka, because if you look at the PSG game, what PSG did is they put about 5 players in this zone. And this zone is the Bukayo Saka zone, right? That is where Saka literally operates. And they actually stopped us. They actually won the game by making sure that they take chances and create a lot of chances, but also stopping Bukayo Saka. They know if you don't stop Bukayo Saka, you cannot beat Arsenal. But the reason that's why they were able to do that, the reason that's why they're able to put 4-5 players on Saka is because on the other end, there is literally nothing to worry about. At center forward, Mikel Merino is nothing to worry about. And left wing, Gabriel Martinelli is really nothing to worry about this campaign. But if you think about it right now, it's going to be a little bit different. And this is how. Because Gyokerez as a center forward is going to keep your both of the center backs. For example, for, let's say, these are the 2 center backs. Let's use blue. Right. So these are the 2 center backs from the other team. And they're going to be kept honest and they're going to be occupied by the presence of Viktor Gyokerez. And this means that for Saka, he's got the left back to deal with him. And then he's also got the left winger to actually deal with him. And if we can bring a player like Julian Timber and join in there, and player like Martin Odegaard to join in as well, you can easily create overloads on the right-hand side, just like Arsenal used to do back in the day. So I think he's going to be, Gyokerez is going to improve a lot of this Arsenal team in terms of, our attacking prowess and our attacking efficiency. That is the first way we set up with Viktor Gyokerez. We replace him with Kai Havertz and play 2 wingers. The other way, alternatively, is if, for example, against a team like PSG, right? Or against a team like Madrid, or against a team like Barcelona, you're in the Champions League and you want to keep a very good shape. You don't want to commit a lot of bodies forward because Barca is going to have a lot of the ball and they're dangerous when they find spaces. So you don't want to give them a lot of spaces. You want to stay compact. What Arsenal can do is play a 4-5-1. So you look right there. You have Lewis Kelly and the back 4, right? You have that back 4 of Lewis Kelly and Saliba and Gabriel and Julian Timber. And then you can have Martin Zubimendi drop a little bit deeper, Rice drop a little bit deeper, and Odegaard drop a little bit deeper as well. Instead of Gabriel Martinelli, occasionally, because you want to keep a very compact shape, you can have Kai Havertz, right? So you can have, let's say you can have Kai Havertz as part of that shape. So this is a 4-5-1. Odegaard pushes up, Zubi pushes in, and then you have Saka, right? So usually Saka is Arsenal's most advanced player. But when you bring in a player like Viktor Gyokerez, you can have Gyokerez as our most advanced player. And you can have both of their center backs occupying or being occupied by Viktor Gyokerez, and he can be our most advanced player. We can play the 4-5-1 formation. Arsene Wenger has played this before, and Unai Emery has played this before, both of them at Arsenal. I mean at Arsenal, not at any other club. And what the 4-5-1 allows you to do, like I said, you can keep this zone honest, and you can keep it very, very, strongly well protected. You have 5 players sitting in front of a back 4, right? So that means that it's so hard to penetrate. And we've seen Arsenal do this all the time in this campaign. Arsenal have been so hard to beat, right? We did this against Manchester City. Yes, we had a draw, but we did it. We did it against Liverpool. We've done it in games, especially at times when the opposition is becoming a little bit overwhelming for us. But one thing we didn't have is capable outlets. So at times you have Saka right here, but the problem with Saka is that teams already dedicate a lot of numbers on Bukayo Saka. So you can't use him as an outlet. Whenever Saka is on the ball, you're going to have a lot of numbers around him. So Viktor Gyokerez could be that player, right? So if you have the last 2 defenders right here, and all the other players have actually committed forward, they're trying to, create chances and they're trying to squeeze us, and you have Saka there, and you have Viktor Gyokerez right there on the center line. One ball through, right? One ball through, and then Viktor Gyokerez is on it. And we know these are the kind of goals that Viktor Gyokerez thrives on. These are the kind of balls that he thrives on. He scores a lot of transition goals. He scores a lot of counter-attack goals. So if Arsenal can do that, it will be absolutely massive. So we could play him in a 4-5-1. You want to stay compact, you want to keep shape, but you want to have a very quick outlet, a reliable outlet, a guy that can go and score a solo goal. Viktor Gyokerez can do that for you very, very well. Now, of course, we have been told that Arsenal might not sign, Arsenal will sign a left winger, definitely. But what if Kai Havertz is going to play alongside Viktor Gyokerez? Then that means that Arsenal can also line up with Viktor Gyokerez in a 4-4-2 formation. So we have seen the 4-4-2 before at Arsenal, where you had Van Persie and Theo Walcott playing as 2 strikers, and then of course you had a couple of other players behind them. So the 4-4-2 would be like this: you have Kai Havertz and Gyokerez as your 2 forward players. You have Declan Rice pushing up a little bit. You have Saka pushing up a little bit, and you have Martin Zubimendi and Odegaard in the pivot, right? And the reason as to why I've said this, it's a little bit crazy that I've done it like this, but I'm going to explain why. So the reason as to why I've done it like this is because Mikel Arteta usually wants Declan Rice advanced high up the pitch, right? I know for any other team, it would be the vice versa. You'd have Odegaard high up the pitch, and then you'd have Zubimendi and Rice as the double pivot. Rice as the 8, and Zubimendi as the 6. But for Arsenal, it's different. If you look at what Rice has been doing for the last 2 seasons, he is bombing. He's not replacing Havertz. He's bombing up and down the pitch, right? But he's trying to stay high. And I think Zubimendi comes into this area, and Odegaard comes into this area. So we'd play a 4-4-2. You have Saka, Odegaard, Zubimendi, and Rice, right? They are the 4. And then you have Havertz and Viktor Gyokerez up top. Now, for me, this would work well in games that Arsenal can dominate, right? It would work well in games that Arsenal can dominate. For example, you have... let's say you have a player like Lewis Skelly, right? For example, you have Lewis Skelly. So you have Lewis Skelly coming into the midfield, right? And this is, say you're playing a club like Leicester City and you're in possession and you're pressing them and you're pressing them. You have a player like Lewis Skelly coming into midfield, Rice going high up the pitch, and Lewis Skelly just occupying this zone here, right? So we've seen this a lot of the time. We've done it against Real Madrid as well, and they had problems with them. But Arsenal can play a 4-4-2, and it would work out very, very well. Even if Odegaard, because here you could have Saka, high up the pitch, and you have Gilles Timber closing into that space that Saka would leave behind. So Arsenal could play a 4-4-2 still with Viktor Gyokerez, and it would still work out very, very well. So the advantage of us having Viktor Gyokerez, and I think a few people are quite skeptical about this, but it would work. The advantage is Arsenal face a lot of mid blocks. Like teams that set up in this area of the pitch, right? I just want to show you this. In this area of the pitch. This is what we call a mid-block. Teams that set up around there, right? Around there. And you have everyone in this area of the pitch, right? So if you look at the distance between the players and the goal, it's huge, right? And why teams do this is they don't want you to play closer to their goal. But if you have a player like Viktor Gyokerez and you have a player like Odegaard, you have a player like Martin Zubimendi, it's easy for you to exploit this. It's easy for you to play through balls into this area here. And of course, Gyokerez is quick, Saka is quick, and you might have Declan Rice as well running through, right? So in terms of mid blocks, Viktor Gyokerez is going to help Arsenal a lot. But in terms of low blocks, he's actually going to be a limitation because there is not a lot of space to run into when you're facing a low block, right? They're literally on their goal. They're literally there, right? He will score. He will get chances, but there are not a lot of chances for him to get that ball through and then run onto it. So Arsenal can look at him as a curse, but also we can look at him as a blessing as well. Hit that button. I'll speak to you right in the next one.